Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing and talking about chapters 26 through 41 of The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. So at this point of the story, the house is becoming extremely unstable back in the 1990s with Henry, and there's a lot of secrets being kept. So back in Henry's time, Henry discovers that him and his family have no money left and that David is pretty much controlling everything. He also catches David and Bertie kissing, which means that David is having an affair, behind his wife Sally's back, and that Bertie is also cheating on Justin. Although he decides to keep this a little bit hush hush at the beginning, he eventually does tell Finn. Him and Finn decide to go do drugs on the roof. However, David catches them and they get in trouble, but not before or not after Finn kind of calls him out for having an affair and also calls Bertie some not so nice names. And so it's obvious that at this point, secrets are kind of becoming weapons, right? Libby's timeline also keeps the mystery going because as she's in the house, I don't know if you recall, but she hears noises in the house and she decides to leave. This causes her and Miller Rowe to kind of wonder if it was Henry who was in the house. And if he was in the house, why would he have not said anything? But in my opinion, I kind of feel like, why would you have wanted him to come down anyway? Like, you don't know him. You don't know the type of person he's become. Yeah, it's just really weird why she would have even wanted to see anybody in the house. Because anyone could say they're this person and it not be true, but I digress. Libby and Lucy's storyline are kind of in the same storyline, or they are. But in Lucy's storyline, she's starting to get a bit desperate. As you know, she went to get passports from her husband or ex-husband, Michael. And he starts to kind of force himself on her. He gets physical with her. But she is desperate for these passports, so she will do anything to get these passports. But in an attempt to, I guess, kind of get revenge on him for what he's done to her in the past, what he's doing now, and also just to get the passports from him, he or she rather attacks him. And unfortunately or fortunately, Michael ends up dead. And before she decides to leave, she takes it upon herself to hide his body in the wine cellar in his house. And she does this because she believes that, no one is going to think that it was her. Only his maid knows that she was there. But, she's under this, I guess, alias that with a new passport, nobody is going to know that it was her. And also he has a lot of I forget what the word is, underworld, corrupt connections, who could have been the ones that killed him. And so she feels comfortable doing this for whatever reason. Although I do feel like they would have been able to connect the dots, but anyway. So moving on, back in Henry's timeline, the rules of the house become more and more strict and more restrictive. David and Bertie create even more strict rules to put upon the house, such as you can't get a haircut without permission, you can't leave the house without permission, etc., etc. Like really normal things that people wouldn't think about asking anyone else for permission to do. Finn becomes even more rebellious. He refuses to eat and he even locks himself in his door when he comes back from visiting his mother, who has moved out of the house after finding out that David and Bertie were having an affair. However, this causes David to now ban locked doors. Finn also kind of withdraws from Henry, and Henry starts to grow closer to Justin, and he starts, visiting Justin in his garden. And, he kind of questions Justin as to why he's even still there if he's not even with Bertie. And Justin kind of has hopes of being with Bertie still, even though he doesn't really think it's possible. But they become closer, and Justin kind of starts to teach Henry how to garden. Jumping back into Lucy's timeline, she's successfully escaped France and she's heading back into London. And she's determined to stay hidden and survive. Also, Libby and Miller Rowe are investigating the house and they're making certain discoveries, such as the name I Am Finn written on the back of a kitchen drawer. And also, they discover Martina and Henry Sr.'s wedding ring from 1975. They also decide that they are going to stay at the Chelsea residence to look out for the intruder that they believe is coming into the house. Now, I don't know what actually even permits them to do this. Like, why would they do this? We don't know if this person is dangerous or not, but I digress. I mean, I guess he's a reporter, so he's done investigating, but to bring like someone who is like, I mean, he's also civilian, but like a civilian into this is kind of crazy to me. But anyways, they do this. And upon doing this, staking out the house, they see a man climbing up on top of the roof and they go inside to confront him. And he reveals himself to be Finn. Now, I don't know, and I don't really think that this is Finn at all at this point, just because I feel like when you show people like stuff like I Am Finn written somewhere and then you meet the person and they say that they're Finn, to me, it kind of foreshadows that that person is not actually Finn. It may have been Finn that wrote that stuff, but I feel like it's too much of a coincidence in the story, you know? So I don't think that that person is Finn. They say they're Finn. We also find out that Finn has actually been secretly nearby all along. He lived across the river in a house that is directly across from Chelsea House. And he invites Miller Rowe and Libby to go to his home. They were a little hesitant, but they go anyways. And upon doing this, Miller Rowe starts to interview him and he finds out that these so-called suicides of Henry and Martina and Birdie and David were not actually suicides, but they were murders. And I don't really think that this is a huge reveal. I think reading this book, you probably would have figured that out on your own anywho. So do with that what you will. So at the request of Finn, they actually end up staying overnight in his apartment. Like, he was very convincing. And they end up staying there and they wake up actually in the same bed, not knowing what happened that night. They don't remember going to bed. They don't even remember being all that drunk, but somehow, some way, they are in the same bed, clothes still on and everything. And they also realize that their cell phones are missing. When they try to head out of the room to unlock the door to go outside, the door is locked. In the past, David's control over the house is actually tightening even more than it already was, if you can get any worse than that. So there was a point in this portion of the story where Finn had pushed Henry into the water. He ran away, he came back, yada, yada, yada. Because of this, David punishes him by locking him inside of his own doors. So he's banned locked doors, but now he's putting locks on the outside of all of the children's doors. And specifically for Finn, this is his punishment so that he doesn't run away again. After this has happened, Henry, still is close to Justin, confides in Justin, and Justin offers him an escape of sorts for him to come and work with him in Wales in some type of dispensary. And Henry is only 14 and he says to him, like, I'm only 14, I cannot do this. But it's clear that Justin sees how toxic the house is and is wanting to get Henry out. But Henry can't leave because he is too young. And unfortunately, 2 days later, Justin is gone and he's never to be seen or heard from again. So there goes his kind of confidant, because he's not really as close to Finn as he once was. While all of this is gone, or after all of this is gone, Sally, Finn and Clemency's mother, she comes to visit and she kind of goes off the rails on David because she's found out how badly he is punishing and, treating her son. And David kind of just responds very nonchalantly, doesn't really care. And so she goes and confides in Martina, Henry and his sister's mother. And Martina also doesn't seem to really care or really notice anything wrong with this. She pretty much just says, like, I believe that David is the reason for everything good happening in my life right now, and brushes Sally off. So it doesn't really seem like Martina, or really any adult in the house besides Justin, is aware, or I guess maybe cares enough to see what David is doing. I mean, Birdie, she was weird in the first place. She's, seemed determined to take over this family anyways. Coincidence, she comes and then he comes. It's so strange. And then obviously, his father was deteriorating. So whether he cares or not, doesn't matter because he can't really do anything. Justin, who didn't really seem like a responsible adult anywho, but did care, he's up and gone. And also he was going to take Henry and leave all the other children, supposedly. I mean, I didn't really get the sense that he was going to take them. And then Henry's mother, Martina, is brainwashed as well. And children can't really do much. And yeah, so the toxicity of the house is clear. Yeah, and that's kind of where we end this portion. I don't know. My thoughts, just in general, I keep, like, there's stuff happening, right, in this book, but I keep feeling like there's not enough happening that's interesting, or I guess being expounded upon. There's so much happening. There's so much unsettling things happening. But I just have a feeling that it's going to come to a very unsatisfying conclusion. Now, I know there is a second book that goes along with this one. And the ending for this will, I guess, determine whether or not I choose to read that second book. I will say this is not necessarily my favorite book. Honestly, it takes me so long to read these because I do have to take notes in order to do these videos. But yeah, it's not necessarily my favorite read. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't like to call books bad. Everybody enjoys whatever they enjoy. But yeah, that is how this section of the book is. The next portion of the book will be 41 to the ending, and we will see how that goes. So what do you think so far based on this and these reviews and these book talks, I guess? Do you think that you would be interested in reading this book by Lisa Jewell, or picking up any other more of her literary works, or whatever you would call it? Do you have any recommendations? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more content like this, book reviews, show reviews, movie reviews, and the like. And I will see you in the next video.